I was actually talking to someone the other day and they were like, it's so neat when you're multifaceted, how you can hang out in so many different realms and really collaborate with people. And it sometimes to the outside world looks like you don't know who you are. But when we have that sense of just strength and identity, it's less about being a chameleon and more about like owning the space when we're in that space and not allowing what that specific realm is to influence you, but instead you go in and influence the room, right? And I feel like there's just a connection point for us to be able to do that. And I, for a long time, was absolutely a chameleon, and I would allow the outside environment to shape what it is and who I needed to be in that moment. And it's so much more freeing to do it the other way.
Yeah. And by chameleon, I mean, I don't necessarily change who I am ever. What I do change is how I show up in that given moment in service of the environment. Right.
Yeah,
So if
good.
I'm, speaking on stage, I'm going to show up differently than, if I'm going fly fishing alone,
Yeah.
and it's, so
totally.
It's like, it's very different based on the environment and the value that I would like to bring to that different scenario. So
yeah, and you show up in
point.
So many places. I mean, talk to us about all of the different things you have going on. You guys, behind the podcast, he is an entrepreneur, he's an author, he's a speaker. I love biohacker. I'd love to know more about that. A humanitarian, an actor, a model. I mean, all the things, right? Talk to us about the evolution of Cary Jack.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I've been training martial arts, and I had since I was a boy, and I had a Taoist priest and Kung Fu master train me since I was young. And he said some questionable advice to me that I took to heart. And it was, Cary, always have 7 plates spinning at once. Therefore, if one fall, you still have 6 plates. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I just didn't limit myself. I played like every sport growing up. I was doing all sorts of different things performing wise in the entertainment world. And then, entrepreneurship and starting businesses. So I didn't limit myself. Now, looking back, I would say probably focus in one area probably would have got me success faster. But now I am very well rounded, and I do feel very grateful for that. As you mentioned, I run a business and personal brand called The Happy Hustle, and podcasting and events and speaking and all the things, similar to you, Tamra, like a lot of synergies there.
Yeah, I love it.
And then, I have one foot in the entertainment world. I've been professionally acting and modeling for, 15 plus years. I was repped by, the biggest agencies in the world, from Wilhelmina and Next to, innovative artists. And I've worked with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to Michael Bay and all sorts of like really cool people in that world. And then, I have this whole spiritual component, that I've connected with Mickey Singer from The Untethered Soul, and these spiritual masters like Dan Millman and the Peaceful Warrior author, and all sorts of really cool people there. And then, I have all my other, components with the, with my personal stuff. I don't need to get into it, but like my personal life,
sure.
Like just,
gosh, I forget to talk about that often. I mean, personal, yes, as like a parent and a wife, but there's this whole other realm to ourselves that I don't talk about as often.
Yeah, it's true. So anyway, I think for everyone listening, if I was going to extract value from my journey in terms of being well-rounded, it's figure out things that you actually enjoy doing that don't necessarily feel like work. And I know it's cliche, but when you can pull skills and this knowledge from these other arenas of life, and then you combine them into a blue ocean. Oftentimes, like for me, I love the outdoors and the wilderness and camping, fishing, hunting, hiking. And now I combine entrepreneurship by taking entrepreneurs into the backcountry wilderness for a epic camping adventure. And it's like, no one's doing that, and it's like, I take 2 different realms from my diverse background, I combine them. And so that maybe is something for your audience to consider, where they can combine 2 different areas that they really feel passionate about.
100%. I actually do this often. And I go through this process of like extracting the pains and passions of somebody's story and their day-to-day living, and then creating this transformational zone. And if we can exist in that transformational zone, we can actually connect other people into this place of joy, into this place of development that actually allows you to exist in all these different realms and not feel like disconnected or not feel like a crazy person doing all the things, but instead ultimately coming back to the core of who we are.